cockscallop here. Might have been one of his enemies. Look at those teeth, man. Imagine them jaw vents here with a ton and a half of jaw pressure. Mate, that would just be terrifying. In this video, I've come back down to this little river. I love this river, but a couple of videos ago I found a huge saltwater crocodile in here, Roger, as I named him. So I'm going to go down and try and have another interaction with Roger. Hopefully we can see him again, get to spot him. I know where his territory is, and I know where he likes to sun himself, his favourite sunbaking spot, so with any luck he's there. Also, I believe he's in between 5 and 6 metres, but there's no way to confirm that. Well, there hasn't been, but I think I've got a way. I have a couple of reference points from videos I took last time I was here, but the conditions have to be perfect. I brought a tape measure back. I came back another time with a tape measure to try and do that, but it was too dangerous. The tide was up a little bit, and it was the sun wasn't shining directly on the spot where he sunbakes. It was a bit shady, so really sketchy. I couldn't go near the water. With a 5+ metre crocodile there, you've got to get it perfect. So I'm unaware of what the tide is right now. I'm just chancing it at the moment. I'll go down and have a look. If I've got to wait, so be it. And I've got, like I said, I've got that tape measure. So if I can measure a straight line between the two reference points as I have, he had his head on a log and his tail right near another log. So I'll get that pretty close. If I measure a straight line and get the distance there, and then take into account he was actually in a bit of an S shape, so you could add another ½ metre probably to that. I'll get a really good idea of how long he is, and I really want to know. I'm really curious. First time I ever found Roger, he was right there, about 2 inches under the water. I was over on the other side fishing. So this stretch of river is all Roger's territory. I've never seen another saltwater crocodile in here. Plenty of fresh waters, but never a salty. Okay, so that's a good sign. It's tidal up to here. So the tide effects there, when it's up, that bank there is pretty much level with the water, which means it's down. Hopefully it's running out still. There he goes. At least we got to see him. Gets a bit thick through here. We're getting pretty close to where I'm hoping Roger is sitting. Oh, we're really close to where I'm expecting to see him. If he's there, it won't be long before we get a glimpse. Next minute or so. Here he is, here he is, here he is. Wow, he's not sunning himself, he's swimming up in the water here. Okay. He's just coming into view. Hopefully he doesn't see me here. He's about to come past these trees here. There he is. Can't move. He's coming towards me. Towards me. He's about 15 metres away from me. 15, 20 metres. Yeah, it'd be 15. Look at the size of that thing. It's incredible to be so close to an animal that size. Wow. He's just roam in his territory. Damn, he went under. Sound of that drone spooked him, but he's right in here somewhere. Yeah, the sound of that drone spooked him, unfortunately. I should have set it up from up higher. But with any luck, we'll see him again up here. Just gotta watch these steep banks, slippery banks like this with all these leaves. Last thing I need to be doing is falling in that water with Roger. Mate, he's that big. He would swallow me whole. Use my skinny little legs as a toothpick. Actually, he wouldn't swallow me whole. He'd probably spit that bit out, but he'd eat the rest of me, without a doubt. Well, Roger's gone under for now. He doesn't want to be seen, so yeah, I reckon I'm going to have to go back up here and go for fish. Then come back down and see if he's come back up. Old Roger really rules his territory with an iron fist, an iron claw, or so to speak. You never see any other saltwater crocodiles in his territory. Here's another freshie sitting on the bank. He'll take off, I'd say. There he goes. So it's been about 2 hours. I've been up and had a fish. No luck there. Gonna head back down. See if Roger's about again. Hopefully the tide's dropped. I really wanted to get there and measure the distances I was talking about before. So this tide is dropping. It's dropped a fair way since I was down here a couple of hours ago. So we might actually be able to get to measure what I need to measure. Tide's still dropping, but that's where he likes to sit. There's no sign of him. Oh, there he is. There's Roger. I see him. He's got another spot on the bank here. Cool. So he's further down in his territory. I haven't seen him this far down before. He's right up on the bank. Let's see if we can get the drone over to get some better footage. He's looking the other way. So hopefully he hasn't seen me. He's right there. He's still there. I just got some great footage with the drone. What I'm going to try and do, he's turned his head. He's looking my way. There's a fair chance he knows I'm here. So two things I'm hoping for is to get a bit closer to get some footage on this GoPro. And the other thing is this tide's dropping. I'll be able to go down further where it's safe and cross. Hopefully he's left a good mark on that bank there and I'll be able to measure it. I've got a tape measure with me. I think this guy will take off pretty quick. He's actually looking, his eyes are looking up this way. Let's go have a look. Look at that. That is amazing, man. I can't believe he's still here. Oh, there he goes. So there's a bit of a slide there. I'm hoping it's really prominent so I can see it. I'll be able to cross down here further. It'd be great if I could measure him there. I'll go back, get my stuff, get around there and see if we can measure him. So I got across safely. He's where he was sunning himself. You can see the marks here where that's where he's climbed up the bank. And he was laying around there. There's no distinct marks that I can measure. 1, 2, that's steep, that bank's a bit steep and it's a bit wet, so I can't go down there. It's too dangerous. I'm safe where I am back here. I'm 5 metres back. I can see down into the water. There's no way he can launch a surprise attack on me. But he's right here somewhere. But yeah, it's a shame. I would have loved to have measured. He's even been up here. You can see his marks here. Right up here in the sand. So he must come here when that other spot's underwater, which it is now. The tide's running out. So I'd reckon he'd be waiting for that other spot. Or if it's too shady, he'd sit here. Here's Roger's other sunning spot. Tide's still going out, so yeah, I obviously can't get out there and measure it yet. It's still too dangerous. But look at this. An old croc skull here. Might have been one of his enemies. Don't know, but that's a fair sized croc too. Look at that. So while that's no Roger size head, we'll just get a rough idea of how long that is. So it's broken off here. We'll call it 580. 580 mils. So the croc's head is roughly 1/7 the length of their body. So if that head's 58 centimetres, times that by 7 is roughly 4 metres and 6 centimetres. So that's a big boy. He was probably a Roger victim, I'd say. The size of the teeth in him. He's probably ventured into Roger's territory and Roger said, not on my watch, son, and bit him in half. Wow. Look at those teeth, man. Imagine them driving into you. Oh, with a 1.5 tons of jaw pressure. Mate, that would just be terrifying. And to find this croc skull, mate, that guy there's he's a beast in himself. So it'll be, which I'd say Roger would have dealt with him. That's why he's no longer with us. And that's why there's no other saltwater crocodiles in this area, because that's their fate if they come in here with that big fella, Big Roger. He's not very social. Hopefully you can work on them skills, but yeah, he's got a long way to go. Yeah, there's no way a croc's just died and his skull's fallen apart like that. He's had that crushed by a bigger, stronger, more dominant male, such as Roger. Wow. So this tide is really low now. So this is my favourite time to come down here, and the easiest time to see crocs and Big Roger. So I'll just go down here slowly, and there's a fair chance we'll see him again. I just don't want to spook him, because if he goes under, they can hold their breath for an hour. You've got to sit around waiting for him to expose himself again. So I'll just go easy. Fingers crossed we get some more footage of him. So even these big 5-metre crocs like Roger, in these conditions here, even they're hard to see. A lot of the time they just blend in with the background in this thick scrub. There's a lot of snags and stuff like that everywhere. So you just got to take your time. And the object is to spot him before he spots you. So there's a lot of wallabies in this area. There's a lot of wallaby tracks and a lot of wallabies taken off in the bush. So there's a fair chance old Roger's diet would consist of a fair few of them, I'd imagine. So I reckon I know Roger's exact territory now, from one end to the other. So it's pretty easy to predict where he's going to be, within reason. So I'm just about down at his sunning spot. I reckon I can see him in the water. Yep, I can see him in the water. He's about 50 metres away, pointed straight at me. We're not going to be able to pick him up on this yet. I've got to try and get down and get real still. And hopefully he comes past. He's just through there. We won't be able to see him on this yet, but he's coming this way. I'll just have to be patient. Hopefully he swims through here. I'm going to have to invest in a better camera for these situations where I can zoom in. He's coming closer. We still won't be able to see him on this, but he's probably 30 metres away. There he is. Look at that. What a beast. Right there. Look at the size of him. goes up there and suns himself. That's one of his favourite sunning spots there. He's sitting still now. My legs are cramping up, but I can't move. Alright, he just went under. I think he's onto me. He's still just sitting over there, but he's gone under. So he's just gone down under the water over here somewhere. I'd say he's onto me. I reckon he was heading up the sunbake. So I thought I was sneaky enough, but obviously I wasn't. So what I might do is go back down around here to a safe spot down here and cross. It's a lot safer knowing that he's up here, so I'll go that way. There's a couple of shallow spots down here I can cross, and I might wait back up in the bush over there for a bit and see if we can get him to come up. He's come up in his normal sunning spot, so I'm going to send the drone down again and hopefully we get some more footage. Mate, he's so big. He's like 100 metres away from me here, and he's massive. See how far up this tide comes. See how far it's dropped. Here's the tide mark here, right at my feet. So she's down a fair way. Alright, I've made a bit of a blunder here. I've been hanging for this tide to drop like this and for the conditions to be just right to measure how long he was. I've got a couple of reference points because I took an aerial shot of him with the drone, and I took a still shot on my phone, but I forgot to bring the phone down. But his head, it was about here, and his tail was about there somewhere. Trouble is I don't know exactly where, so he's right here somewhere. So, but I can see a long way out in the water. He can't sneak up on me. It's very clear and the sun's shining where I need it to be today, so as long as I don't go out there in that deeper water and just keep an eye on things, I'm okay here. So I might try and measure where I think it was so I can get a rough idea of how long he is. So I've got the tape measure there. That's pretty much exactly where his head was, but I don't remember exactly where his tail was, but it was about there. I know this is pretty rough, but he's not as big as I thought he was. So from there to there is measuring 4.5 metres, but he's in a bit of an S shape. So I reckon you could add 500 mil, so I reckon he's 5 metres. I was thinking he was bigger than that. It's hard to estimate with that, him being in that shape, that S shape, but yeah, that's still a big croc. I reckon that's about where his tail went. I'll cross-reference this with the photos I've got when I get back to the car. So we're probably looking at about a 5 metre. Roger's about 5 metres. It's a bit of a sobering thought to know somewhere here there's a 5 metre croc just watching me. He knows exactly where I am. That's where he was before. This is where he suns himself. So he'll be up in there somewhere, just watching and waiting. is a fairly big freshie down here. He's facing away from me, so we might be able to get a bit closer before he takes off. Oh, that wasn't a freshie. That was a small salty. That's the only other salty I've seen in Roger's territory. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, cool. Another little rat. Doing there, digger?